It is Pride Month, which is always exciting.
Short, we get married, have a child at 20. I'm 20 years old when I had my son. 29 when I bought my first house going through a divorce on my own, being a single parent. I mean, if you have your lights on at night and you don't have your blinds shut, I'm probably looking at your decorations. I will just tell you that right now.
A lot of trauma and happy endings to try to unpack in 15 minutes. Love who you are, love yourself. All right. So this is going to be episode number 2 of Class and Sass.
Number 2.
Do you remember the intro?
Of course. Why don't you start it?
So welcome to Class and Sass with the ever so classy Wendy Miller and myself, the ever so sassy Tyler Durham, where real estate meets personality.
That's right.
Round of applause. So do you want to start us off, Wendy, or?
You go ahead. You got this.
So I figured, since we will probably release these episodes in June, it is Pride Month, which is always exciting. So I figured I'd tell my story and hopefully give some hope to those out there that may be facing difficulties or struggles, especially with June coming around the corner. It's Pride. Love who you are, love yourself.
Yeah, always. Sometimes it's hard to do, but
it's very hard to do.
Gotta try.
It's still a struggle. I think everybody struggles with that on the daily. So this might be a lot of trauma and happy endings to try to unpack in 15 minutes. So I guess I'll just tell my story. So ever since a young age, I knew I was different from everyone else. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was attracted to the same sex, essentially, making me a homosexual. And growing up in the South, I knew that was frowned upon. Mm-hmm. So ever since a kid, I was always like, there's something wrong with me. Of course, my parents knew, my mother knew. At this time, we lived with my grandparents. So they knew, and there was a bunch of talking tos about this. Now, my family has loved me ever since I came out, and I am very thankful for that.
Yeah, but not every family's like that.
And I have heard some very horrible stories. So I am fortunate to have a family that has loved me through that.
Yeah.
But of course, in the time, I was very young. So they were like, this probably is a phase, essentially.
Yeah. Like, how old were you? Do you remember?
I knew for as long as probably like between 6 and 8.
Oh, wow.
So like a very young age. Yeah. Ever since, I guess it's the same as like when people realize that they're attracted to the opposite sex.
Yeah. 6 or 8, man. I can't remember back that far.
That might be a trauma response. So, growing up, I knew it was essentially wrong, quote unquote. And I struggled with that for a lot, especially into my teenage years, because then we all know you have raging hormones in your teenage years.
Yeah, that starts in middle school, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for girls. I don't know.
So going through that and just dealing with like transitions of middle school and high school together, and then fighting this internal battle with myself, like something's wrong with me. How do I fix it? What do I do to be like everyone else? So tried a lot of different things.
I'm sure that was hard.
Yeah.
But at least you had your family to back you.
Yeah. And I mean, at that time, it was kind of lonesome because I knew my family thought it was wrong. Mm-hmm. When I came out finally, because I didn't come out till I was 24.
Okay.
So it took me that long. to accept it for myself. And so, out of some of the many things I tried to become straight, one of those was, of course, to pray the gay away, growing up in a religious household. I can tell you from experience that does not work. This is your public service announcement. That is,
you tried.
I tried. I can tell you it doesn't work. Now, so struggling with that, I never came out in high school or anything. I went to a rural high school. I mean, as everyone knows, I went to West Oak, so, in Oconee County. And I mean, I think most schools, you know, it's a very conservative place. Nothing wrong with that, but I've seen the way that kids treated other gay people. And of course, that's scary. You're dealing with the internal dialogue yourself, hoping nobody finds out this big secret. So I can look back and laugh at this now, but it's probably kind of sad because the way my brain works somehow, and the impression I got was like, I've tried praying it away, tried all these other things, tried Google, didn't help me.
Google's no one's friend. Sometimes.
Did not give me a solution. So I was like, the only logical thing to do is to join the military because that will make me straight.
Okay. And did that work?
That obviously did not work.
No.
So 18, no, I was 17. My mother had to sign. She got a nosebleed in the recruiting office because she was stressed.
Don't do that to your mom.
So
no mom wants to see her boy signing papers to.
Yeah, but it was just a national guard. So I wasn't going active duty. It wasn't like I was going to be away from home. But I was like, you know what? The National Guard will make me straight, which is hilarious now that I think about it. So 17, I joined. 18, after I graduated, went to basic and AIT. The Army is probably the gayest institution I have ever been a part of.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
It's more, I say that more as a joke just because it's a bunch of straight guys around each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's really what y'all are doing? So I'm not going to go into the details of like the jokes that are told and the things that are done.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah. That'll be for another episode.
There we go.
So,
because now everybody wants to know.
All right. It also was not a gay fantasy. So, but so I joined the Army. I was like, this will make me a straight man. And I enjoyed it. I loved what I did in the military.
Yeah.
You know, I was in for 8 years from
That's a long time.
2010 to 2018. And absolutely love what I did. Well, I ended up meeting a girl who had 2 children. We moved in together, was together for about 1.5 years. So now, not only am I lying to myself, but I'm lying to someone else.
Yeah.
And trying to raise 2 children that are not mine.
Well, that was honorable of you.
Sure. I don't know about honorable. I know it taught me that I did not want kids.
Hey, kids are hard.
One of them was my little buddy. The other one was just an asshole.
A girl or a boy?
Little boy.
Oh, 2 boys.
Yeah, so it was 2 boys. But that's kind of when I had that realization. Like, it's one thing to lie to myself about this. It's another thing to possibly take someone else in their family down this road that's not true. Because I was like, if we get married, if we raise these kids, like that's a whole life in and of itself that is crazy. So that's when I really started to struggle with it. And we ended up breaking up. It wasn't like a coming out breaking up. We just kind of broke up. We were moved in with each other. This is also when I bought my first house.
Oh, yay. With her? Or by yourself?
No, by myself. So the reason I bought a house is I was like, I'm already here. I could buy a house. The person we were renting from was a broker. He was like, if you use my agent, you won't have to pay the termination. So I'm like, cool, I'll buy a house. And she was going to stay in it. I bought my house. Anyways, long, complicated, just breakup issue going on here. To top it off, I'm also working at I think I was working at Title Max at this point, which is a soul sucking job. Tell you right now, I don't know how you do it. If y'all work at a title company, like title loans, I'm sorry, but to give someone a 280% interest rate on their car, yes. I'm like, this is predatory.
That's people that have bad credit, I guess, right? Is that kind of what that is?
It's no
money back credit kind of thing.
Yeah, but my opinion of it is they just target people that aren't educated in finances and they take advantage of it. It's not like they're trying to educate them to help them, but they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases. Sometimes like, hey, I need a quick amount of cash. Like some people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
When they do that kind of thing. Because it's supposed to be quick and easy. But I mean, these more than likely than not, these people are carrying $2,000 for 2 years and they end up paying $6,000 to $8,000 back.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it just killed my soul. I was like, I can't do this to people.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. My manager was awful. I'm still struggling with this whole thing. My work environment's terrible. And the military hadn't done what I thought it was going to do. So I kind of have this moment of everything I know to be true isn't. And it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just world shattering. Like everything I'm living for.
To do everything that you know and were brought up to know that was right.
Yeah.
I guess.
And so then
it's
it was just hard. Like it was.
And you want to make your family happy. You don't want to disappoint them, and yeah.
And that was when like my family's always been big on family, and of course that was the first thing. Like, really don't want my grandparents. My grandfather was a father figure to me. My grandmother was a second mother. They were always cool, lenient grandparents, but just coming up in the environment and area we were, you hear, basically, the word I'm looking for, slurs towards the community.
Yeah.
You hear jokes being made and you're like, okay, let me just.
I don't want to be part of those jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's draining. It's hard. So I'm 24 at this time. Broke up with her. Finally got rid of that. That's when I kind of had, and of course, like I said,
rid of that.
So trying to fit this in 15 minutes. We might have to have the other episode on the next part because this is when my mental health really went down the drain. And I was at a point of suicidal thoughts.
Oh no.
So, and I was just not healthy at all. Drinking, I was like, I can't do this. Like every day is a struggle. Every minute is a struggle. And I'm glad that I knew in the moment that I need help. So check myself into a hospital. I'm like, hey, I'm having suicidal thoughts. I don't have a plan. I'm thinking about it and I don't like it. And this is a dark place.
That's good that you realized it and you went to try to find help. Some people can't do that.
Yes, I am definitely happy for that. And if anyone out there is struggling with that, definitely reach out for help. Reach out to us. Yeah. I will more than happily talk to you on the phone for 4 hours.
Yes, he will.
But really, because I had a friend that did that for me. Like I would just be in tears, like just lost, and be like, "Hey, I just need you to come sit here."
Yeah,
because I just don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
So I went through a huge bad mental health thing, and it's still mental health is a struggle, anyways. I think for everyone, just to keep going. Some is worse than others. And I think it's always good to acknowledge where your mental health is. So it's still a struggle today. Some days are good, some days are bad. I'm in a lot better place than I was before.
Good.
And so after all that, military wasn't doing what I wanted it to. It did not turn me straight magically, not teach me how to be straight.
Imagine that.
So I kind of had an identity crisis there. which led to like a medical behavioral discharge, which is why I got out. Which I really haven't told many people that either. Really haven't told anybody about.
And now the whole world knows.
Yep. Now the whole world knows, but I've only told a select few that I joined the military to become straight. So finally, I came out to friends first.
Right.
And this is my thing. Like, you have to come out so many times.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a one and done. So I come out to my friends. Then I have to come out to my family.
Yeah.
Then I have to come out in my professional environment because even at that time, like, I'm out with my friends, but not everyone can know. Like, my family knows and my friends know, but I don't really want the world to know. You know, I'm acting straight at work. And then finally, when I became a realtor, I was like, I'm just gonna embrace it wholeheartedly. This is me. I'm gay, like it or not. I'm 30. I don't have time.
And you've done that.
I've done that very well.
Be yourself.
And I really think that's what I want it to come down to. I'm running a little bit over on my time.
It's all good.
But definitely, you know, if this does come out in June, happy Pride Month. Love who you are. You are amazing people. Everyone is in their own step in their journey. You know, there is a community that loves you. There's a community that will embrace you, you know, and we are always here for you.
Absolutely.
So that is what I have. Quick, down and dirty. There might be some questions and more trauma to unpack later on. So what would the
email Tyler your questions?
I thought about that because I was sitting here thinking I was making the thumbnail for the YouTube video. And I was like, I wonder if we should make a class in Sass at Gmail.
Maybe.
And that way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Y'all let us know, even though we haven't posted a video. We're trying to get 3 down so we have enough time to make more.
Don't give away all of our secrets.
Right. This is all real time and live. Brought to you from the plant shop in Greenville.
Greenville, South Carolina. Yeah.
Wedding
destination, food destination.
I feel like that was loud.
That's good.
So, but yeah, I think we'll have to talk about that.
It's not 200 degrees in here today. We found the air conditioning.
It is not.
It's great.
Yeah. All right, Wendy. It is your turn.
So, what do you want to know?
So we're gonna do this interview style. All right. So I know. So last time when we were doing introductions, you have worked for an attorney, worked for interior designer.
Yes.
Loved spending other people's money.
Absolutely.
Then went to
everybody.
It's always great. I know this one. Got your nail tech license.
Yes.
Opened your own shop.
Yes.
Then did real estate part-time.
Yes.
So you're successful. Agent leadership. Top 20% of the company. How did you do it?
How did I do it? A lot of hard work. A lot of hard work.
So walk us kind of through that first.
Yeah, so I actually married kind of, I guess, my high school sweetheart, if you want to call it. I don't know. It kind of sounds weird saying that now. Because that's not who I'm married to now. But yeah, so my senior year, I was dating a guy that did not go to our school. And long story short, we get married, have a child at 20. I'm 20 years old when I had my son. And, you know, we go through this 10 years plus and didn't work out for reasons that we're not going to discuss. But anyway, didn't work out.
Email your questions.
There you go. There were just, yeah. So anyway, so here I am, I guess. I think I was like 28, 29 when I bought my first house going through a divorce on my own, being a single parent.
So, because at this time you had the nail shop, right?
Or no, I did not have my nail license. I was working for the interior designer when I bought my first house.
Now, if I may ask,
Yeah.
Was the purchase of the house out of necessity from the divorce? Is that kind of, I mean, you could have went to rent, but I guess from the divorce, did you purchase because of that?
Well, we were in a house that I couldn't afford on my own. So,
okay.
Got out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I was a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I volunteered at the school all the time, and I was kind of a room mom, and did all those things. I was with him 24/7 basically.
Yeah.
And doing some part-time jobs here and there. And but yeah, 29, going through divorce, bought my first house, but it was just because I could not afford to keep the one I had.
So y'all
On my
sold
own.
that, and
Yeah.
you bought something you could afford on your own. I mean, that is impressive, because I think what the average buyer is like 35 last time I looked.
Okay. Yeah.
You're buying at 29 and raising a kid and going through a divorce. One, I could imagine we're going to be shattered.
That's not going to happen. I mean, you go into marriage thinking you're going to be together forever, but it just doesn't always happen. And I was the first one in my family to actually go through a divorce, and that was frowned upon. Talking about your issues with that, and kind of the same thing with me. So, I was raised Southern Baptist. We went to church every Wednesday, every Sunday, and I volunteered, and I was, in the youth group, and whatever they had going on, I was involved in it. And so I come to my parents trying to tell them I'm going through a divorce, and that was like a sin in its own. But
I could only imagine, because like it's when you're in kind of those environments of strong held beliefs, it's terrifying to have to be like, hey, remember that thing you told me that like we can't do under any circumstance?
Yeah, I did it. Yay me.
I mean, looking back, I would imagine you could look back and be like, this is silly that we treated it like this big of a deal. But
I know, it's so weird. Times are so different. And, you think about things that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago, and it's like, what in the world? It's just crazy to think, that actually went on or happened. I mean, hundreds of years ago. It's crazy. But obviously time changes things, and, people are different. It's different. So, and, we live in the South, like you said. So we're in the Bible Belt. There's a church and Dollar
every
General
street corner.
corner.
Can't forget that Dollar General.
Yeah.
Love the South. There's some great things about it. There are also all the bad things about it.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of take it in doses.
That's right. That's right. And we love the South. I've lived here, born, raised, lived here my whole life, and they're probably never going to leave. So, not saying anything bad about it, but it's just what it is.
Every place has its ups and downs and things you don't want to acknowledge, but it happened.
Right. Right. So, yeah. So, I just did it. I mean, I worked. I had a child, and I worked my butt off.
So you bought when I'm over here like, oh, the Army's gonna make me straight. And you're like, I'm going through a divorce with a kid. I need to feed. My struggles don't seem that big of a deal.
I will say that I'm pretty good at saving money too, so that helps obviously. And in real estate, you've got to save every penny. You cannot spend it, because you never know when you're going to have a good month or a bad month. I mean, you can have 6 closings in one day, or you can have 6 closings in a year. And
let me tell you what not to do. Don't get a couple of closings and then go spend a shit ton of money on a logo. Love my logo. The person who did it is amazing.
Don't do that.
Don't make big purchases when you have Canva.
Your taxes do not come out on your paychecks, okay? You better save some money for your taxes, because you're going to have to pay those.
It was a write-off, though. I was
yes.
like, this is a business expense.
Yes. You save every receipt and write off every possibly little thing that you possibly can. Absolutely.
So I couldn't trying to fathom of where to start here, because so I'm assuming when you bought the house, you're pretty much like close to the end of the divorce and having custody of your kid. Mm-hmm. So you're like nearing the end of that part, but you're still working, going through it, and having to raise a child.
Yeah.
Because I imagine
And then that's when the economy hit, which I kind of talked about at the last episode. But the economy hit. Everybody had to shut everything down. The interior designer had to basically shut her business down. So then bought a house, single mom,
and then it's
just have a new mortgage, and I'm like, no, I don't have an income coming in. So put myself through nail school, and thank goodness I had money saved, and I just did it.
That's impressive, because you started out with was it a higher end Greenville salon where you worked before you opened your own?
I actually started at a local. It was Millie Lewis, actually. I started doing nails at Millie Lewis, and I knew the owners, sweet people. I think there's new owners there now, but love them to death. And I started there, and then a spa needed some help, and they kept asking me to help and help and help, and I ended up being busier there than I was at Millie Lewis. So eventually I went to the spa, and then I opened up my own place.
So, and you opened up like brick and mortar.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you weren't doing it in your basement.
I was in the back of my truck, the trunk.
I'm over here struggling to figure out if I should pay for an office. Like our office has offices you can rent, and you're just over here slinging a baby around and open up a brick and mortar shop. Like,
well, I think
so how was that experience? Like, did you buy it? Was it rented?
I rented a space, yeah, a room, kind of basically. Well, 2 rooms, yeah.
Okay.
Rented some rooms, and had manicures one area, pedicures in the other area.
Supplied all the stuff for it.
Everything.
And what was it called?
The Organic Monkey.
Organic Monkey.
And I had the best clients ever. I still talk to a lot of them. I miss a lot of them.
They all bought houses with her.
They need to list their houses with me. I need some listings right now. The market
so terrible.
We need listings.
So what? I know we tried to cover it as far as like what turned you towards real estate.
Oh man, that's a really good question, because I don't know. Everybody says, "Oh, I love houses. I love looking in houses," which I do. I mean, if you have your lights on at night and you don't have your blinds shut, I'm probably looking at your decorations. I will just tell you that right now.
If you see Wendy in your bushes, go ahead and sign the listing agreement.
I love to see the chandeliers and the artwork and what kind of curtains. I mean, it's just, I don't care what y'all are doing as people, but
I want to see what
just
your decor
looking at the decorations.
Like.
Yeah, that's great. So get blinds or curtains and shut them at night when your lights are on. Yep. Just FYI. Yeah, I don't know. I needed a little break from nails. It puts a lot of work on your body, actually, your back and hands. And as weird as that sounds, it is. It's kind of a physical thing. And real estate is a different kind of stress.
Real estate is a mental stress.
It's a mental stress. Because you're still dealing with all kinds of people with, and from all aspects of the real estate process, whether they're your clients, the attorneys, the lenders, the other agent you're dealing with, and not everybody's always on the same page. So, there's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't realize, but it takes a whole village to get to a closing, and it's sometimes is a struggle. So,
oh yeah, because especially when you're having to put out forest fires and negotiate and.
There's rarely, I mean, every once in a while you'll get a smooth closing, but
most of the time you're problem solving from A to Z.
Yes, absolutely. But I enjoy it and I love it, and I love.
Yes.
Most of my clients are freaking awesome. I mean, they're great.
I mean, which really brings me.
I love them.
Coming close to the end, so we'll try to wrap this one up since we're almost at our 30 minutes. But yeah, I mean, kind of full circle. Where the reason I love real estate is it's an opportunity to provide for people and educate people on a process that will not only change their lives, but the lives of the generations to come from them. And I think my goal...
It's very rewarding, if I can talk. I've only been drinking water.
Right, we haven't had no wine today. It is very rewarding. And, it's always... what I love to do, and part of the inspiration for this podcast is just my goal every day is if I can make a positive impact on someone's life, I've done my job.
Yep, I like that. Absolutely.
So, I never know if I do, but
we would like for y'all to tell us we are.
Yeah. Leave the reviews.
They usually, a lot of times they do, which is great. Love it. Yeah.
So we're getting into the red. Don't forget, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. And until the next time, everyone.